Hi, everyone. I wanted to take a minute. I'm kind of casual, but I am just about to take my kids to soccer. But I wanted to take a minute to talk just a little bit about the feedback, all the feedback. So I've given you feedback on your feedback to each other, and I've given you feedback on your elevator pitches. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I know there's been some consternation. So a couple things. First, if you didn't get the grade that you wanted on your elevator pitch, don't worry. You can revise it, okay? I honestly see all of the progress in this course that as continuing to grow and improve. I want you to understand a couple of things about where I come from and what matters to me. Some of you, I think, come from a place where you are really concerned about getting a perfect score on all of the things that you do. And I can respect that, but that's also problematic in a learning environment because you're coming into this course and I'm asking you to do some things that some of them you have never done before. I'm not expecting you to know how to do them. That's why I give you the direction and the scaffolding and the assignment, and then you'll take an attempt at it. And if you don't hit it, that's okay. You may still not get a perfect score, but that's okay. My hope is that you engage with what you did, that you look at it, that you think about where the standard is, where you hit, and then to be honest with yourself about, okay, what do I need to do to improve? And then if you're not sure what you need to do to improve, even after you've read my feedback and comments in the rubric, then reach out to me because we can talk about it. I'm happy to do that. That's my job. I'm here to help you learn as much as you can. So you will learn more if you do that than if you just tried something, got a perfect score on it, but maybe weren't entirely sure why. That isn't particularly helpful in helping you learn. So I wanted you to know that. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is for your, let me see, what did I call it? I want to make sure I'm calling it the right thing. It's the peer feedback that you gave each other on your elevator pitches. So I know that I took a look at the feedback that you had given at the end of the week last week. I sent out an announcement that said, hey, I looked at some of this. The problem with much of it, not all, but many of you were talking and having dialogue about each other's pitches. You were giving feedback, or at least you were replying to each other, but you weren't engaging critically. And that is a key component of what we do, what we expect and train you to do in graduate school. Is to engage critically with whatever you are looking at. So that will be organizations, that will be critical engagement through writing, critical engagement with your peers, critical engagement of the texts that we're looking at and reading. So what does that mean? It means, especially in the context of your feedback, it means that you need to move beyond summary, and you need to move beyond what you like and didn't like. And instead, what's beyond that? Beyond that is, how effective was this, or how well did it work? And so there are some easy ways to jump into that with the feedback assignments that you'll be having. We'll be having feedback assignments like that for every presentation that you do. So two or three more presentations, I can't remember. It'll be in the syllabus. So there will be more of these. And when you engage with this, if you watch someone's presentation, you can think to yourself, not just at the level of content or message, gosh, I like that message, or I really think that product or that company sounds really cool. Shoot, I would wear their clothes, right? Those are fine things to say, and you don't need to stop saying those. But what you do need to do is then say, okay, how effective was this pitch? And how effective were the different elements within it? If you're not sure about how to talk about the elements, go to the rubric, because that's where I have given guidance in crafting. I've given you some words to use. I've identified the elements that I'm looking for. Those aren't the only elements that are in a pitch, but those are some of the elements that I'm grading on. So you can start with those. Things like effectiveness or polish or performance. And in there I have things related to tempo or pacing, or unique selling point. Was there a unique selling point? Was it effective? Was the question clear at the end of the presentation? Was there a question at the end of the presentation? Did it work well for what was there? So you are evaluating, you're looking at it and considering the effectiveness of the elements and how effective they are at accomplishing the purpose of the piece. And so we do that. If we do that and we break that down into sections, that is critical engagement. You're not just looking and accepting what you're seeing. You are looking and then evaluating and considering and then responding how effective this was. And in the case of our assignments, I give you rubrics as well. So you can talk about how effective you think the different elements were according to the standards in the rubric. So that's one of the ways that you can engage critically and offer critical feedback. The other thing, though, that I want to point out is that there are critical feedback doesn't just mean that you criticize or that you point out areas for improvement. Critical feedback can be positive. It can also be pointing out areas for improvement. It can be both of those things. It can be talking about how something works, even talking about, I noticed you did this option. Have you considered this other option as well? Because it might do this and that, but I'm not sure. You can consider that, right? So that is critical because it's engaging with the piece. It's suggesting a possible course of action that might lead to something else, that might lead to a more desirable outcome or a stronger pitch. But you can also say that you aren't sure. That's okay. So I could offer critical feedback that is positive. I could say, boy, your introduction was really powerful. The reason it was powerful was, for me, was that you started with your name, clearly with your name and your organization, but it was your tone and the way that you smiled. You engaged the listener, you engaged me, and it was very effective that way. And then it had this effect on me throughout the pitch. You can also give feedback on areas that need to improve. Things like, I noticed that you didn't have a question at the end of your pitch. One of the things that would help is a question like this or that, because what it would do is it would do this to me, and I'm imagining myself listening to this, and a question like this would be really helpful, or a question like this could be really helpful because then I could respond in this way or in that way. So hopefully those are two examples that are helpful to you of how you could respond. I'm going to leave this for now, but if you have other questions, if you're concerned, reach out and ask me. If you didn't do well on the feedback assignment, or if you didn't get full credit, right? That first of all, I want you to know that I am not concerned about your grade. I have taught this course for a long time. What I'm trying to do is early on, as early as I can in this feedback, I'm trying to help you understand the kind of feedback that I'm looking for, the kind of feedback that I want from you to start practicing throughout the whole term so that you can get really good at it, because it is critical feedback and critical engagement, both positive and negative, that will benefit you the most in a professional working environment. If you can't sit down and have hard conversations about what works and what doesn't and why, then it will be challenging for you. So I'm having you do this, and I'm trying to set the standard for you in this first assignment so that you understand what I'm expecting and where you can aim for next time. If you're not sure how to do it, reach out to me. We can talk. I'm happy to spend time with you. Hold on. I was sick last week, so I'm still getting over it. There we go. Actually, I'm over it, but I just have the lingering cough. So I don't want anyone to be freaking out at this point, this early in the term, because they didn't get full credit on this assignment. You can't make up the assignment. There's not extra credit, but it's a piece, it's a small piece of your entire discussion grade, and your entire discussion grade is part of your whole grade. So everyone's gonna be fine, and it will be okay. So I just wanted to say that in case any of you are having anxiety. Turn this into a learning moment. See what you can learn. Don't be so concerned about being perfect, but rather look to see what you can learn from the dialogue that we're having. That's my main concern. I want you to learn as much as humanly possible before the end of the term. All right. Thanks. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week.